What's up, dudes? You're here to change the oil on your ND Miata, as am I, and it's been a little bit longer than I would prefer as far as oil change interval goes, so I'm going to keep the information coming at you short and simple for your sake and for mine. Let's jump right into it. You're going to want to jack this puppy up by the seam weld on the outside of the car, somewhere in the middle, because you're going to need to put this thing on 4 jack stands. There's a reason for that. Make sure you have 4 good, reliable jack stands and a good jack before you even start this process. The reason you have to put the car on 4 jack stands as opposed to just jacking up the front end and doing the oil change from the front on 2 jack stands, by the way, never get under the car when it's only being supported by a single floor jack, or any number of floor jacks for that matter. The reason you can't is because the drain plug is a little bit towards the front of the oil pan, and if the car is tilted back and not level, you're not going to get all of that dirty oil out, and you don't want to leave any of that nasty dirty oil left over in there. If you're not familiar with what a seam weld looks like, I'm going to do my best to try to get it on camera. There we go. That's your seam weld. It's a bit obscured by plastic in some points, but you'll recognize it by the spot welds along its length, and you'll be able to put the floor jack right on that corner of that, and it'll be totally safe for lifting the car. Do it all the time. So where I like to put the jack stands are right here in the rear. If you can see, there's a length of frame rail that's nice and supportive. I'd go ahead and try to do this with one hand. Bring our stand up, set it under there. You want to make sure that all jack stands are at the same length when you let the car back down. On the front, I normally place the jack stand right here. It's an area at the edge of the subframe, seems to be quite strong, and I like the fact that there's an edge that hooks into the jack stand. Seems to make it a little bit more stable. So I'll try to do this. Let's hold it towards my mouth. Oh no. Yep. That's the ticket. Okay, this would regularly be the point where I would explain every tool you need before you get underneath the car so you don't have to get back up again before you change the oil, you know. But I'm not actually gonna change the oil on the floor with a jack stand because I know, you guys don't have a lift at home, but the truth is, it does give you a better visibility of what I'm doing, so hopefully with this up in the air, you're gonna get a better experience and know exactly what to do when it comes to doing your own oil. These little green bolts here all have to come off. They are a 12 millimeter, despite the fact that it says 10 on the edge of it. I believe that refers to a steel grade. I'm gonna go ahead and bust all these loose with my regular ratchet because my Ryobi Impact does not quite have the juice to bust these babies off, but if yours does, send it, baby. We got something here. Here we go. There's the pan. There is our pan and oil filter. Don't shame me for using an STP. It's all they had at the time, and I really needed to change the oil, okay? I'm putting a Mazda 1 back on. Stop judging me, okay? Go ahead and bust out your 17 and make sure, unlike me, you have a place to drain this oil into. And you can see it was not very tight. You do not have to He-Man this bolt when you go to tighten it back on, but we will go over that soon enough. Bring her up. All right, here we go. Loosen this guy. Now, worth noting, I watched another oil change video, and on their drain bolt, it was a Allen on the inside. Female hex, if you will. I am going to take it upon myself to figure out which size you may need and leave that in the comments. Here we go. And there she blows. Make sure you open your fill cap before you drain your oil. Otherwise, it's not going to come out so fast. Some tasty oil right there. Oh yeah. Now let's go get our oil filter. Whew. Too tight for both hands. Dang, man. Who put this thing on? Just needs a little encouragement sometimes, you know what I mean? When you're shopping for an oil filter wrench, make sure you get one that's quite small because a lot of them will not fit on this Miata. Come on, dude. I'm gonna put a rag into it and go ahead and do a little rag trick here. Get some extra oomph in your clamping force. Wow, that's tight. It was really on there. Okay. There we go. Look what it did. Dented the heck out of it. Good thing we got a new one. I have the feeling that this old used oil is not great for your skin. So yeah, if you have some gloves, use them. Make sure you lubricate the ring of your oil filter before putting it back on, even though the place it screws into is oily already. A little extra for good measure, and it's a good idea. Now you may be amazed to know that this filter is the same as you would find on an NA or NB Miata. I don't know about NC, I've never had one, but I think it's pretty incredible that Mazda used the same part number for all of their line of Miata cars. And I think that's just a nice thing to know. Now get your drain plug clean and go ahead and put that back on. Now would be a good time to change the crush washer that you find at the end of the bolt. I have new ones. I don't know where they are at this very moment because we're cleaning the garage. You can reuse these maybe once or twice. I wouldn't try to reuse them very many times. They're aluminum and they only crush so much, but I think this one will be okay. I'm gonna go ahead and pop it back on. Fine dust and grime you find under here, and we are good to go. I didn't put the panel back on. Now we just tighten our drain bolt. You don't have to go crazy with this. Don't He-Man it, okay? You'll strip it. Just be careful, give it a good little nudger, and it's sealed. Let's put our panel back on and drop this thing down. Get your center, get her started. Now don't tighten the bolts down until you get them all in. The 1/4-inch impact wrench gets them plenty tight. There's no reason to go tighter than that. The oil I've chosen to use in my car is Redline 030. This is an ester-based full synthetic oil, and it's high in ZDDP, which allows the engine to last longer. 020 is the manufacturer's recommendation. I'm a little bit higher because I figure with all this hot weather, I'm in the middle of the Mojave Desert, it's the middle of summer. That extra 10 points of weight at the hot end of the spectrum can't hurt anything. The car holds 4 quarts of oil. I'll generally not go all the way up to the maximum and pour the entire contents of the container in there all at once. I'll usually leave a quart or maybe half a quart at the bottom of the container, run the car, add some more in as needed. Generally, it does end up using the whole container, but just as a safety precaution, you don't want to put more oil than the car can hold. You'll run into problems. Not good. So generally, you'll go to maybe 80% of your capacity, run it, and then add more as needed. All right, I ended up filling and checking it a few more times, and we did end up using the entire contents of this gallon. Now, this is good to keep so that you have a place to pour your old used oil back into and take it to the auto parts. Now, here's a pro tip. When you take it to the auto parts, you can actually request that they pay you for the used oil. Last time I checked, AutoZone is willing to give 10 cents per quart for your used oil. So make sure you go there and get your 40 cents towards your next, I don't know, fingernail polish or whatever. Yeah, it adds up. It adds up. If this video has been helpful to you thus far, please give me a thumbs up. That helps it spread to more people, helps me out, helps you out by helping me deliver you better content. Oh, there's one more thing. Let's go over here. We are in the car. We gave our ignition 2 clicks in order to get it into on accessory mode. We're gonna try to reset this little wrench. We'll make that wrench go away. So let's go over here to the screen, and you would think that it's over here in settings, and it's not. You're gonna go over here to applications, vehicle status monitor, maintenance, and oil change. I have mine set to come on at a certain interval. Let's reset it and see what it says. Yes, reset. 5,000 miles, it's a little early. The Redline is actually rated for 15,000 miles, and I'd like to change mine every 10. I think you wouldn't want to go much past 10,000 miles, no matter what kind of car you have. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.